Could this actually be happening? Mikal Bridges finally could join the New York Knicks as Josh Hart has continued to recruit, this time using memes, and there's a lot more here than meets the eye, so we have to break this down. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as we always do, because Josh Hart has openly recruited Mikal Bridges to join the New York Knicks for a while, due to the fact that out of all the Nova Knicks, the one guy missing is Mikal Bridges, who happens to be on the Knicks' little brother, the Brooklyn Nets, who suck this year, have no way of getting better. The only hope is that they trade Mikal for assets, but they refuse to do that, and they're basically just going to be stuck in a hellish existence for the next, I don't know, entirety of Bridges' career with the Brooklyn Nets. So they might as well trade him, and Josh Hart obviously is recruiting him to the New York Knicks again. So if we look, what Josh Hart said, if you missed it, he said, it's like that SpongeBob meme where Squidward is looking out the window and he sees SpongeBob and Patrick having fun. He told this to Kristen Winfield, who is very tight with the New York Knicks. He knows them well. He's a very good reporter. And he said that Mikal is Squidward in this scenario. So now, if you guys don't know what the meme is, I guess it's from an episode of SpongeBob. I don't know. Maybe I saw it a while back. SpongeBob's a great show, and if you disagree, then you're wrong. But Squidward's looking out the window. It's very common, especially on like NBA memes and stuff, where we'll see SpongeBob and Patrick are running around outside, and Squidward's looking out the window, watching them have fun while he doesn't. Who knows why? It doesn't really matter. But as we know, the Brooklyn Nets are also terrible, while the New York Knicks, we know, this is a Knicks channel, we know how good the Knicks are. They are very close to being a legit NBA Finals contender. They're going to go to the playoffs, and while you look here at the Brooklyn Nets, as NBA University pointed out today, they have found themselves in the most embarrassing situation in the league yet again. They're 26-45 with 0 draft picks this year. They are 2-8 in their last 10, and they've lost 6 straight games. The Nets are a disaster. Now, the Knicks, obviously, one of the best teams in the NBA, one of the best defenses in the NBA, and Mikal Bridges would fit in perfectly, while also having a rapport with a number of Knicks, such as his former college teammates who he won a championship with in Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Dante DiVincenzo. All of them were teammates together on a championship Villanova team. Also, Ryan Arcidiacono was there for one of them. But the thing here is, all of these guys happen to be in New York, 3 of them on a great New York Knicks team that has captured the hearts of New Yorkers and basketball fans around the world, while the Brooklyn Nets, I think people kind of forgot they exist. I don't know one person who's going to tell me, like, oh yeah, I'm going to Barclays tomorrow. Oh, what are you doing? I'm going to a Nets game. That doesn't happen. The Nets games are really cheap. Take it from someone who lives in New York, someone who right now is looking out to New York City buildings out there, someone who MSG is literally a few blocks from my apartment. I know which games are cheaper. It's obviously the Nets games because no one wants to see them. They cannot pack the house at all. They struggled to when Kevin Durant returned in a game that I went to, and it was just a sad environment. Everyone was there to watch Kevin Durant. There was no Nets fans other than Mr. Whammy and his wife in the entire building. The team is a failure of an organization. The New York Knicks are great. And if you look, Knicks Memes has already been on it. He's got Hart, DiVincenzo, and Brunson out there, while Squidward, a.k.a. Mikal Bridges in this situation, is looking out. He's on the outside looking in, or in this meme, the inside looking out, at all of his buddies having fun, while he can't go and play with them because he's stuck on a team that nobody cares about. And that's a shame, because one, I think it's good for New York if the Brooklyn Nets are good. I used to dislike them with the whole Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving thing, but then I kind of stopped because I'm like, hey, it's the same way that I look at it as a New York Yankees fan. If the Mets make it to the playoffs and the Yankees don't, I'm going to root for the Mets. I go to a ton of Mets games, and guess what? They're great. I love going to Mets games. I always root for the Mets. By the way, just quick note, Mets fans don't feel the same. My friends boo the Yankees when we go to Yankee games, but when we go to Mets games, I cheer. Why? Because I'm a real New Yorker. Just had to mention that. Real New Yorkers are always going to really side with their city before anything else. And in this scenario, I do want the Brooklyn Nets to be a successful organization. Do I want them to be better than the Knicks? Absolutely not. But what I do want is the Brooklyn Nets to be a good team. Now, obviously that's not going to happen. But so I'm not just trying to trash the Nets here. But if you look at this, it's a lot more than meets the eye. it's not just Josh Hart is making these memes. He's doing this because he knows that he's going to talk to Mikal Bridges later that day. There was a photo of him and Mikal talking after the game, kind of laughing. They're friends. They're really, really close. They went to college together. They came up together. They're very close. And unfortunately for Mikal, he can't get to play with his friends. Now, if you look at this in just kind of a general scenario, put yourself in this position. Like, all right, first of all, I get to live in New York City and be an NBA player, so it's already a massive positive. But on top of that, all my friends are on the good New York Knicks. Well, I'm on the Nets, man. Like, it's nothing even against the Nets outside of the fact that they don't really have fans. They're not good. They're in a terrible situation. It's a complete embarrassment. And then my friends are just having fun on the Knicks. They get to hang out, go on these road trips together, have a great time, have a team that has the most loyal fans in the world, that are so behind them, that love them so much. And it's like, if I'm Mikal Bridges, I'm going to bet you more times than not when people come up to me, they're saying, go to the Knicks, man. Come on, we want you here. Knicks fans love Mikal Bridges. We want him on the team. We think he's the perfect fit. I mean, imagine Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby on the wings together playing defense. That would be filthy. Mikal Bridges is a legit NBA player. He's one of the best non-all-star players in the league. Obviously durable as hell, as we all know. Averaging 20.5 points per game this year, pulling down 5 rebounds, also getting nearly 4 assists. His shooting numbers have been better, but it's also he is the first option, and he's kind of put in a weird spot. But still, 44 and 37 is not bad. You know that he would be shooting a little bit better on the Knicks because he'd be the third option. And also still a 15.1 PER despite being on a losing team. So his numbers are good. Like, his numbers are good. And clearly I would guess that Mikal Bridges, if you asked him, and you're like, look, no cameras, no nothing, would you rather be on the Knicks or go to the Nets? He'd say the Knicks, and that's fair. I think most guys on the Nets probably would say that because they're like, oh, yeah. Luckily, someone just blew their motorcycle right outside my apartment right there. But if you just look at this, I just don't see why Mikal Bridges would want to be on the Nets when he could be on the Knicks. And obviously, he can't just walk out. He's not a free agent. He can't just demand a trade to the Knicks and expect it to happen. But if you asked him, he'd probably say that he would rather be on the New York Knicks. Now, as we saw, the Knicks routed the Nets the other night. They won 105-93, pulled away. The Knicks fans were going crazy. And the 3-Nova Knicks combined for 54 points, 23 rebounds, and 18 assists in the contest and helped the Knicks win their third consecutive game against the crosstown rival. Adding some extra salt to the wound is the fact that Mikal Bridges, who was also on the 2015-16 champion Villanova Wildcats team, was on the losing end of Saturday's game. And then Josh Hart made the SpongeBob meme connection, which honestly is an absolutely correct way to point that out. Shout out to Josh Hart for doing that, because it's also him recruiting. He's also saying, like, oh yeah, like, Mikal's watching us have fun. You know what he wants to do. You know where he wants to be. I talk to the guy all the time. It's one of my best friends. We happen to live in the same city together and be NBA players. We hang out. We have summers more free. We're going to hang out in New York, and guess what? I'm probably going to mention a few times to him, yeah, I know you want to be a Knick. And he's probably like, well, yeah, obviously, dude. Like, look, all my friends are there. Like, I want to hang out. Like, I want to be able to go on the road trips with you guys, be with this team that has just this amazing vibe to them that has a winning culture once again. Mikal would love that. And unfortunately, it's not the most likely scenario that this trade happens. The Knicks and the Nets have hardly ever made trades together. I don't believe one has been made since the 80s. It feels like it's unlikely that there's some massive trade for Mikal Bridges, because what would the Knicks even offer? They'd offer Bogdanovich because the contracts align very well, but then you have to give a handful of picks. And how many picks do you really want to give Mikal Bridges? That's the question. He's not an all-star player, and if you're giving 4 first-rounders, then that's your big trade. That's the big trade that the Knicks make. You have to be comfortable with thinking, okay, this is who we got. This team, Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, or Isaiah Hartenstein. It's kind of hard to tell right now. With Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo off the bench as 2 absolute studs of bench players, this team can win the NBA Finals. And if you ask me, I think they can. I think that's a very well-constructed team. The NBA is back in the 2 all-star set of things. It's not just stack your team up with stars and figure the rest out later. It's just not that anymore. It's build a great team and win, like what the Denver Nuggets did. The Denver Nuggets weren't packed up on star power. They had 1 all-star in Jokic. The rest of them are just really good players, and they were deep, and they did things right. That is what the Knicks need to kind of emulate here, and getting Mikal Bridges does exactly that. So if you have to overpay a little bit for Mikal Bridges, I think you do it. There's not too many other guys who are going to become available, And then you have just a really stacked up lineup from top to bottom. The defense becomes the most elite defense in the NBA. They probably put up historic numbers, especially with there being more contact and the NBA trying to improve defense. I think this trade would be a massive win for the Knicks if they could pull it off. I'd say it would have to be Bogdanovich and 4 first-round picks, probably 2 unprotected, 1 lightly protected, and 1 with a bit higher of a protection. Maybe the Pistons one or the Wizards one, whatever. They'd find one to work. I think if the Knicks could make that trade, if the Nets would accept that, they would have a massive win. It also helps the Nets because they're not going to be all Knicks-owned picks, which means you're not going to just be like, oh, no, well, now the Knicks are going to go out and win the NBA Finals, and we're going to get the 30th overall pick. Like, no, the Knicks have a ton of picks that aren't their own. So basically, they can kind of get away with this, and they can kind of do this well, and they are the team in best position to make a trade for Mikal Bridges, and they're the only team that would overpay for him probably, because no one is going to value Mikal Bridges higher than the New York Knicks are this summer. They should go for it, and I think they will. And if you look here, Mikal Bridges kind of said that he held, well, as it was written here, Bridges held the franchise together with a positive statement, and he said, I wasn't raised when things get tough to want to get out. A lot of people might think about different teams. I got my boys over in New York, so obviously everybody goes with that, but I'm here now and I want to stay here. But obviously we know that's what you tell the media. You don't tell them, yeah, dude, I hope I can get to the Knicks and play with my friends, dude. Like, all my boys are over there. I want to hoop with them. I want to be on that team, contend for a championship together. That is my dream. You can't say that. You just can't do it, or it's going to ruin your reputation, which is, I understand, though it also at times feels kind of dumb. But it is what it is. The Knicks have to figure out a way to get Mikal Bridges to the team. It would be a massive win for the organization. Comment down below the trade that you would make for Mikal Bridges. And let me know if you guys want to see more videos kind of following this story a little bit. I like making Mikal Bridges videos because I want him on the Knicks. I want to push this narrative. We must push the Mikal to the Knicks agenda. The Knicks don't need to go out and trade for some superstar player. Brunson can be the best player on a championship team. Randall can be the second best player. You got your 2 All-Stars. Stack the team up with great role players, above average role players, elite defenders on the wings like OG and Mikal. I mean, sheesh, that would be disgusting. On top of that, Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson, great centers. The Knicks would be a stacked up team, and I do think they would win. They would win the 2025 NBA Finals if they traded for Mikal Bridges this summer. Bet on it now. Have a great day, guys. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you guys think down below. Go Knicks.